My pregnant sister asked me to be her surrogate just in case. I found out yesterday what that really meant, and now our entire family is shattered. 4 months ago, my sister Melissa called me crying with joy after 3 years of fertility treatments. She was finally pregnant. I was thrilled for her and her husband Jake. They'd been through so much. Failed cycles, 2 miscarriages, and endless doctor appointments that drained their savings and emotional reserves. When Melissa asked if I would come over for dinner to discuss something important, I assumed they wanted to officially ask me to be the godmother. Instead, they handed me a legal document. "We'd like you to be our backup surrogate," Jake explained, "just in case something happens during this pregnancy." The request seemed odd. Melissa was already pregnant, but they explained that after everything they'd been through, they were terrified of something going wrong. Having me agree to carry their remaining embryos would give them peace of mind, like an insurance policy they hoped never to use. "It's just paperwork," Melissa assured me. "The chances we'd need you are tiny. But it would mean everything to know you are there for us." I hesitated. I'm 29, single, and have always wanted children of my own someday, but I'd never seriously considered pregnancy yet. Still, this was my sister, the person who held my hand through our parents' divorce, who helped me move 6 times in college, who called me every day during my own darkest moments. "Of course I'll do it," I said, "but only if it's absolutely necessary." We signed the papers, hugged, and then rarely mentioned it again. Melissa's pregnancy progressed normally. We went shopping for nursery furniture and tiny clothes. I threw her a beautiful baby shower where she glowed with happiness. Everything seemed perfect. Yesterday, my mother called me at 3 a.m., her voice breaking. Melissa had been rushed to the hospital with severe abdominal pain. I drove there immediately, finding Jake alone in the waiting room, his face ashen. "There were complications," he whispered. "Something called placental abruption. The doctors had performed an emergency S-section. The baby, a little girl they named Emma, was stable in the NICU, but Melissa had lost too much blood despite multiple transfusions and the medical team's best efforts. My sister died on the operating table." I collapsed into a chair, my mind unable to process what I was hearing. My sister, my best friend, was gone, just like that. As the initial shock began to fade, Jake handed me an envelope. Inside was a letter from Melissa, dated the day after we signed the surrogate papers. "Dear Anna," it began, "if you're reading this, something has happened to me. I've asked Jake to give you this if the worst occurs." What followed left me breathless. Melissa had been diagnosed with a rare placental condition early in her pregnancy. Her doctors had warned her that continuing carried significant risks to her life, but terminating meant losing the baby she'd fought so hard to conceive. She had chosen to continue the pregnancy, knowing the dangers. The backup surrogate arrangement wasn't for a potential future pregnancy. It was because she knew there was a real chance she wouldn't survive this one. She wanted to ensure that if something happened to her, Jake would still have a biological mother for their remaining embryos, someone who would tell their children about her. "I couldn't bear to tell you the truth," she wrote. "That was a try to talk me out of it, and this was my choice to make. Please don't be angry. I need you now more than ever to help Jake to love Emma, and maybe someday to give her siblings. You are the only one I trust with my family's future. My parents are devastated, not just by Melissa's death, but by her deception. Jake is shattered by guilt, admitting he opposed her decision, but ultimately supported her choice. And I am torn between grief, anger, and the weight of a promise I made without understanding what it really meant." Emma came home from the NICU this morning. She has Melissa's eyes. I don't know if I can fulfill my sister's final wish. I don't know if I should. But as I held my niece for the first time, I realized that she is the last piece of my sister in this world. Sometimes love means making impossible choices. Sometimes family means picking up the pieces when those choices break everything apart. I just wish my sister had trusted me enough to tell me the truth.